Hello, in this video I'm going to show how to build my version of the B-Dasher go-kart from the Mario Kart games, specifically one that is built on a modified RC car base. If you haven't seen my other videos of this kart driving around, including on a LEGO track, check those out. There's links in the description. If you want to see how to build it, keep watching. Now first I'll start out by showing you the parts you're going to need. Here is a full screen version of that inventory. If you're going to find them from your own collection or order online individually, you can take a look at this. But if you want to go a little bit easier path and buy the whole thing as a kit, happy to be able to offer an option for that now through a site called Build-A-Mock. So pause here if you're going to collect them yourself. Otherwise, let's show the site. So Build-A-Mock is a site where people can upload their models, and Build-A-Mock will provide the complete kits to folks that want to buy them. So you can search go-kart, and you'll find 3 models I put up there for the standard kart for Mario, where you can scan through the bottom, the another kart for Koopa or other 2x2 base figures, and then the B-Dasher with a RC car base. So you can see the options here. I'll just show a little bit more of this one, B-Dasher. So I have various pictures on there. You can see the price in US dollars is $19 at this point. Now Build-A-Mock is based in Spain, and there's some lead time involved, so you have to keep that in mind if you're going to buy it through here. But it's nice and convenient if you don't want to have to track down all the parts yourself. Now you will also need to purchase the RC car base, and I have a link here and in the description if you want to get that part of it. I bought it from Banggood, and these ship out of Canada. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to modify the RC car base. So before we build up the body of the B-Dasher, we first have to modify the RC car chassis to be able to attach LEGO to it. And there will be a link in the description for where to buy this RC car. It will have a body on it that can be pulled off, and then there are a few pieces that will be unscrewed that are mounting points for the body, and then you will also have to do a little bit of cutting and then gluing of the LEGO frame to it. So for this I use super glue, gel kind is preferable, and some flush cutters, although you could make normal wire cutters work if you have to. Flush cutters are a little bit cleaner. First, warn any kids watching this, if you're going to do this, have an adult do the cutting and gluing for you. In particular, super glue can be quite dangerous. You don't want to glue your fingers together. So, what you'll do after you take the body off and unscrew any mounting pieces that stick up, there will be a couple kind of rods, one here and one here, which have already been removed. But what you have to do is use the flush cutter, whatever cutter you have, and just cut those off as close as you can to the base of the chassis. Right, so pretty simple cutting, not too much of that. And then we'll build up the simple frame, glue the frame together, and glue it to the chassis. This is for get strength of the structure. If you could glue it just to the chassis without gluing to itself, but I was concerned that it could Lego pieces could come apart and strain the glue connection, so by gluing all of it together it makes it more sturdy. One thing to note whenever using super glue is you want to use as little as possible to make it work. Don't pour it on. You don't want to get it on your hands or work surface. Put something down. And you don't want to get any glue to overflow into cracks like between this brick and plate here, all those points. If there's too much glue and some of it squeezes out, then it's going to produce a little bump that'll make it so you can't click a brick or plate there completely, and you don't want that. So these are the parts needed for the frame. Attach the inverted slopes to the 1x6 black plates, putting a very small amount of glue on the studs as you do that. For this 1x3 plate, you probably want to glue on the underside. And then for the front, I have a 2x3 and 2x2 white plates joined together by a 2x3 black plate. So here you could put a little bit of glue on the studs, probably the easiest way. Then a little bit of glue onto the for the 1x6s, attaching it with two studs. Ends up looking like this. You want to make sure it's nice and straight after you've glued it together, and don't take too long doing it. You don't want the glue to set. You may want to wear gloves. So this will be the frame you have, and then once the frame is glued together, you want to put a little bit of glue underneath these inverted slopes and underneath these white plates, and a little bit on the inside of the black plates. So all of those will be mating surfaces with the car chassis. You can see how the inverted slopes contact there, and black plates contact the body. Underside of the white plates contact the top of this. Now, one thing to note when you're positioning it on the chassis is that you don't want it to slide forward much. It'll be able to slide forward a little bit, and what will happen is it'll then hit this linkage and prevent you from steering. So you want to make sure it's back so that the back of the white plates is contacting the front of this raised part of the chassis. And once you've done that, positioned it well, to keep it from sliding forward due to gravity, because there is a little bit of a slope to the car, the way the car sits, I suggest you put something underneath the front of it while it dries, so you push it back till it's pressed against here. You put a couple 2x4 bricks is enough to give it just a little bit of raise in the front. Whatever other objects you have around, just you want it to get off the ground only, 3/4 of an inch, a couple centimeters, just enough that it has a little bit of gravity on its side to keep it against there and not slide forward. And let it set however long the glue needs. I mean, certainly overnight it's usually good to be sure it's really good and attached there, and should be quite strong afterwards. Then you can build up the rest of the body, which I'll show here in LEGO CAD. And of course you could build other cars on here as well. You could do some variations to the coloring of this if you wanted it to be more generic. But there you go. Right, I'll show you now how to build the B-Dasher, the rest of it. That will be all just normal LEGO with no glue and removable from this base. Alright, so let's walk through the rest of the build in LDCAD. This is the base that you've attached to the RC car. Next you're going to add a couple white plates there, these 4, and then a 1x3 black plate there as well, so without it. And this is what you're adding. Then we're going to add some 2x4 and, 1x4 and 1x2 white tiles. 1x6 plate there and a couple brackets. Then a few small plates there to bridge the gap and complete the floor of the cart. Next, some 1x3 plates in the back there to start supporting the rear section. One of these interesting 1x3 jumper plates, which is a fairly recent part that's been released and it's pretty useful, and a couple of these 1x1 rounds with the holes in them, which are going to be critical to attaching the hood. Then continue building up the rear of the car. So we have several different plates here to create this shape and the support out to the rear. Okay, and then I'm going to actually add some parts underneath. Some 1x1s and a 1x3. So with it. And then that's going to be necessary to support these wedge plates. Additionally, going to add some cheese slopes and some more small plates. Continue building up. Start adding some dark gray parts as part of the engine. Some 1x1 with a stud on the side. Some more plain 1x1 bricks. These are stud on the side bricks as well. Oops. Okay, and the slope that's the kind of seat of the car. This is just plain brick, but again, we have these 1x1s with the stud on the side. Right, some curved slopes and 1x1 plates, and then some cheese slopes on here to continue this slope, and some tiles plus a 2x3 in the back. And then we're finishing up the engine with some grills on the top and a 1x3 tile. You can see the shape of the rears come together. And then we'll build up the exhaust. So these fire hose pieces, and then these 1x1 plates are all the kind with the hole in it, and some 1x1 round bricks. And that's the exhaust on the right side. Same thing over here on the left. Okay, and that finishes out the rear of the car. And then we also need to add these 1x1 round plates that provide a centered spot for the character to stand. Right, and next, put the sides on, 2x4 slopes, and the steering wheel. Alright, and then the next part will be to build up the 2 submodels that make up the nose of the car. So there's one, there's the other. So, starting with the left one, we'll start with just a 1x6 plate. Add a couple more plates on top. Put these sloped bricks on, and then some more sloped tiles or bows, if you want to call them. And tile over here for the side of the engine or fender. Alright, and then yeah, some plates along here that are going to form the top. And a few bricks, one with one stud on the side that's going to be used for the windshield, and then another one with 2 studs, 1x2 with 2 studs on the bottom here, that's going to help connect it to the rest of the car. They're also using some lightsaber hilts. This is critical to the overall structure. It allows us for do this not work. Alright, and then these 1x1 round with pin and pinhole, I guess is what they're called. So these interesting pieces that are quite useful, and they allow us to go from basically create an anti-stud to anti-stud in a small space. And lastly, put the little windshield on there. So that completes this side. I'll jump over to the other side of the hood. Again, we'll start with just a 1x6 plate, 2x4 and 1x2 plates, rounded bricks. Very similar so far. These bows. And then 1x1 brick on the bottom. Just yeah, so this is the bottom, this is the top. 2 more lightsabers to join it all together. This is kind of the air intake on the front, or the front grill piece. And also adding another brick here to complete the bottom of the front. And that's it for this piece. So then we jump back to the main model and step back one. So this is the main body in the rear. Then we add this sub-assembly. You can see that these 1x1 rounds with pins or with rods are going to go into these 1x1 rounds with holes. Right, and the lightsaber handle's going to just hang out there ready to connect to the other side. Okay, and then the other 2 lightsabers will connect in the front. Right, so it works out quite well. You get pretty strong connection with the 3 lightsabers joining it together, and the appearance of like the recessed grill in there and the air intake, or yeah. It's a kind of underside view of the structure. And that's it. So here is the finished model with everything attached to the base that was prepared. And one thing you'll notice if you watched my first video about this, where I drove the car around the floor, I actually shortened the nose by 1 brick because I thought it was just a little bit excessive when I was trying to drive it around the track. The nose overhang was too much, so there's a little modification to that. And this can sit a variety of the figures, including Yoshi, as I had in the videos, Koopa, and other figures with just 2x2 feet. Should fit in there pretty well. Let me know in the comments if anybody goes through the process and builds their own. And thanks for watching.